The three walls of the Romanists. The Romanists have, with great adroitness, drawn three walls around themselves, with which they have hitherto protected themselves, so that no one could reform them, whereby all Christendom has fallen terribly. Firstly, if pressed by the temporal power, they have affirmed and maintained that the temporal power has no jurisdiction over them, but on the contrary, that the spiritual power is above the temporal. Secondly, if it were proposed to admonish them with the Scriptures, they objected that no one may interpret the Scriptures but the Pope. Thirdly, if they are threatened with a council, they pretend that no one may call a council but the Pope. Thus they have secretly stolen our three rods, so that they may go unpunished, and entrench themselves behind these three walls to act with all the wickedness and malice which we now witness. And whenever they have been compelled to call a council, they have made it of no avail, by binding the princes beforehand with an oath to leave them as they were, and to give moreover to the Pope full power over the procedure of the council, so that it is all one whether we have many councils or no councils, in addition to which they deceive us with false pretenses and tricks. So grievously do they tremble for their skin before a true free council, and thus they have overawed kings and princes, that these believe they would be offending God if they were not to obey them in all such knavish, deceitful artifices. Now may God help us, and give us one of those trumpets that overthrew the walls of Jericho, so that we may blow down these walls of straw and paper, and that we may set free our Christian rods for the chastisement of sin, and expose the craft and deceit of the devil, so that we may amend ourselves by punishment, and again obtain God's favor. A. The first wall. That the temporal power has no jurisdiction over the spirituality. Let us in the first place attack the first wall. It has been devised that the Pope, bishops, priests, and monks are called the spiritual estate. Princes, lords, artificers, and peasants are the temporal estate. This is an artful lie and hypocritical device, but let no one be made afraid by it, and that for this reason, that all Christians are truly of the spiritual estate, and there is no difference among them, save of office alone. As St. Paul says, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we are all one body, though each member does its own work to serve the others. This is because we have one baptism, one gospel, one faith, and are all Christians alike. For baptism, gospel, and faith, these alone make spiritual and Christian people. As for the unction by a pope or a bishop, tonsure, ordination, consecration, and clothes differing from those of the laymen, all these make a hypocrite or an anointed puppet, but never a Christian or a spiritual man. Thus we are all consecrated as priests by baptism. As St. Peter says, ye are a royal priesthood, a holy nation, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. And in the book of Revelations, and hast made us unto our God by thy blood, kings and priests, Revelation chapter 5, verse 10. For if we had not a higher consecration in us than pope or bishop can give, no priest could ever be made by the consecration of pope or bishop, nor could he say the Mass, or preach, or absolve. Therefore the bishop's consecration is just as if, in the name of the whole congregation, he took one person out of the community, each member of which has equal power, and commanded him to exercise this power for the rest. In the same way, as if 10 brothers, co-heirs as king's sons, were to choose one from among them to rule over their inheritance, they would all of them still remain kings and have equal power, although one is ordered to govern.